This is Roosevelt Campobello International Park, once FDR's summer retreat and now a legacy shared by Canada and the US. We came here to explore more than just the cottage, but to walk the same paths, hear the stories that shaped a leader, and soak in the quiet beauty of this historic island. Come join us as we explore FDR's summer home. We decided on a foggy day that we would head to the Roosevelt Campobello International Park. After finding ourselves a nice parking spot in this very empty lot, we headed into the reception building. This international park is the only international park in the world that is jointly managed by both the United States and Canada. This park was established in 1964 as a symbol of the enduring friendship between these two nations. It was officially opened by U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson and Canadian Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson, a rare moment of international unity in parkland creation. Campobello was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's summer retreat location from childhood into his adulthood, and it remained deeply meaningful to him throughout his life. This park is managed by a binational commission with equal representation from both the U.S. and Canada. No border checks are required for visiting this park, symbolizing openness and shared stewardship. Thanks to its unique public stewardship model, visitors can enjoy free admission to the Roosevelt Cottage as well as most of the park facilities. This front reception area is filled with historical pictures, stories, information that describes the life that Roosevelt and his family enjoyed when they spent their summers here, both before and after his polio diagnosis. They even had an old-style radio which had 14 of his most famous speeches. Here's an excerpt from one of them.
If civilization is to survive, the principles of the Prince of Peace must be restored. Shattered trust between nations must be revived.
Created in the spirit of Roosevelt's leadership and diplomacy, this park is the only one in the world jointly managed by two governments. It's a peaceful borderland where history, heritage, and cooperation are preserved together. When Roosevelt's family donated the cottage after his death, both countries responded not with bureaucracy, but with vision. They built something a little more enduring in this space. So you can see here there's lots of opportunity for reflection and partnership. It's proof that neighborly values can be preserved through generations when the intention is there. The exhibits inside this visitor center don't just tell Roosevelt's story, they highlight how Canada and the US have often stood side by side through war, through peace, and through transformation. And this park honors not just a man, but a mindset. And given current political stresses and strains between countries around the world, but especially between Canada and the US, this seemed especially poignant to me as a Canadian. I enjoyed looking at the various installations here that talk about not only our friendship, but how Canada stood by the US in its most trying times like 9/11. Everything here from the bilingual signage to the dual flags flying at the visitor center, it's a quiet reminder that international friendship isn't just an idea. It can be a practice, and this park is living proof. Inside the visitor center, there's also a small theater where you can watch a short film about FDR, his time on Campobello, and how the park became a symbol of U.S.-Canada friendship.
Fear itself.
Once you've seen most of everything inside the visitor center, you can head out towards the cottage, towards the location where FDR and his family spent their summer vacations. The grounds are very well manicured, super clean, and there are flowers and beautiful trees everywhere. This property also has a location called the Prince Cottage. Within that cottage is the Prince Café, which offers light meals and coffee from noon to 6 p.m. Atlantic time. If you're wondering about the food here, don't worry, because we will be eating there later in the video. You're immediately struck by the size. This is a 2-level cottage, and it has exterior wooden shingles, which apparently was very much the style of that era. Along with these amazingly beautiful flower beds throughout the entire property, this particular place has a total of 17 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, and a number of fireplaces, including a central hearth in the living room. To see the interior of this cottage, only certain parts of the cottage are available to the public currently, and there is a docent guide that guides you through the entire house, who shares stories and information about the various rooms and how the family lived when they lived there. According to the docent, about 90% of the furnishings that you see in this video and in this property are in fact the ones the Roosevelts used while they were there. Surprisingly modern for the time, there were 6 clawfoot tubs and period fixtures in this cottage. And the original wallpapers, photos, and some artwork, along with Eleanor's desk right here, are all still part of this beautiful facility.
Were all belong to Franklin. He left them on his last visit here in 1939. Sailing, he loved it. Eastport back in their day was a very busy shipping port. So there would have been lots of activity out on the bay. He loved to watch it all with the telescope.
The little snapshots of newspapers and books and leaflets that you find throughout this cottage are expertly placed, and you can get a sense of the history by just looking at those on the tables and the desks, etc. And this is the telescope that the docent was talking about that Franklin enjoyed using to view the ships in the harbor. Each room has its own distinct wallpaper design, and it's all either original or carefully restored to match the period patterns. They reflect the tastes of the Roosevelt family and really help to transport you back in time, really giving you a sense of what this place was like at its peak in its glory. As we enter into the dining room, we see both the main and children's tables. The docent went on and told us a little bit more about the dishes and the settings, and let us know that these pink-colored plates that you see here, this china, was selected by Mrs. Roosevelt herself on a trip to St. Andrews in New Brunswick. Now, apparently FDR fancied himself a bit of a mixologist, and so he would often come to this back room, apparently, and mix drinks for guests. However, from what's understood from those that were brave enough to say anything, the drinks apparently were very stiff and not very good. Apparently there was somewhere between 4 to 6 staff that supported the family within the house, and this is where they would eat their dinner. And the docent then told a story about how this stove, a President model, was purchased by FDR's mother as a gift to him after he became president. And by the way, the stove was apparently manufactured in the province of Quebec. Those copper pipes, they're for water that gets distributed throughout the house.
Look at this pantry. That's a good sized pantry. Wowzers.
We then headed upstairs, and as I put my hand on the railing, I couldn't help but think, FDR, Eleanor, the kids, they placed their hands on this exact same railing as I was. And there was just something, I don't know, kind of cool about being able to be in that space. The same space that they spent their summers in. We toured the upstairs facilities with a variety of bathrooms and spare bedrooms that they had up there. Lewis Howe, a journalist turned political strategist, was FDR's closest advisor and confidant, and spent a lot of time up here at the cottage. When Lewis was with the president, he was in this room and was here when FDR contracted polio.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to get up in the middle of the night and go to an outhouse or anything. There's a sewing table here.
While at Campobello, FDR was not a politician, but he was the father and a sailor and a neighbor. He played games with his children, explored the woods, and attended local gatherings. He just liked more simple life here. This next bedroom is FDR and Eleanor's bedroom. We learned that Eleanor gave birth to Franklin D. Roosevelt Jr. here in August of 1914, making him the only child with dual citizenship. And while he served 3 terms as a congressman, he could not become president like his father because he was born in Canada, not the U.S. When FDR contracted polio in 1921, Eleanor moved into this room right next to him. And their only daughter, Anna, requested this room specifically because she could see the horses in the pasture just beyond the window. We also learned that the children had to go to school even in the summer months. They would spend their mornings learning in this classroom-style room, have the afternoons to themselves, and on the 7th day, they would go to church and spend their mornings there with family. FDR loved building model aircraft and boats, and in fact, that aircraft was co-built with his son. And the reason for chamber pots in every bedroom? Well, it turns out that FDR was afraid of fire. So not only was there no power in this location, he wanted chamber pots because he did not want people walking around in the middle of the night tired with candles in their hands. He did not want any kind of fire situation in the cottage. In fact, he was so preoccupied with fires in the house that he had a special exit ladder built specifically to get the kids from the upstairs to the downstairs quickly, so that they would not perish in a fire. This property is gorgeous, and although we had a fogged out day, from this vantage point you would be able to see for miles out in the water. The only fire allowed were these gas lanterns, and I love these. They are beautiful. With the tour over, we headed out the very front door that FDR and his family routinely went out and started to explore the grounds a little further.
You know what? You can really smell them. It smells pretty. Bees feeding on the nectar of the blossoms of the tree also become drunk. When drunk, they may fall to the ground or onto unsuspecting visitors. Please use caution.
This park is not just about Roosevelt's house. There's actually a number of trails and beaches and natural features, lighthouses and such to explore. We started to make our way towards the Hubbard Cottage, which was right next door to the Roosevelts. We got to see the ice house along the way, as well as a few placards with more information to support your learning on this piece of property. It's not lost on me the size of the trees and the number of trees on this property. FDR was known for his deep love of nature and trees, and is responsible for the expansion of the U.S. national parks, as well as leading the Civilian Conservation Corps. Wraparound decks are definitely a thing at this time, and this one did not disappoint.
Oh, this is a beautiful balcony. Oh my goodness. Look at the size of this balcony. Wraparound porch, baby. Oh, wow. Okay, what? I gotta check this out before I go inside. Look at this thing. This makes my day right here. Can you imagine having this? It could be pouring rain outside and it wouldn't matter. Wowzer. You know, at one time there would have been no trees here, so the views would have been spectacular. Wow. Look at this. See, come on, like, can we appreciate, like, the details? Like, seriously, the workmanship is incredible. Wow.
Park guides referred to Hubbard as Party Central. It was a gathering spot where gentlemen smoked cigars and played billiards, while others enjoyed piano recitals thanks to Mrs. Hubbard, who was a pianist. The music room inside the cottage was specifically designed to house a baby grand piano, in this case a C. Bechstein, which is a high-end German-made instrument. Currently only the main floor is open to the public. The bedrooms in this home were in the upstairs, and I gotta say, I love the workmanship and the metal work in this house. And as we were touring around, a member of the public went up to the docent and asked if she could play on this piano, as she herself was a professional pianist and singer. And here's a taste of what she shared with us on that day. After touring the Hubbard house, we decided we wanted to take a walk down to the beach and see if we could find any sea glass or any other interesting artifacts. And as you can see, it was a really foggy day that day. Couldn't really see far out into the water. However, we still enjoyed our time here on the beach. As we saw in the distance a long dock, you'll notice the angle of the beach. That dock rises and falls with the tides. One of our favorite things to see while we were on the island were birds of prey hunting for fish, and this is just a perfect example of that. So we headed down to the dock to explore, and it was quite the long excursion to the end of this dock. And as we walk along this dock, I want you to pay attention to the pillars, the stabilizing pillars on the left-hand side, and just how high the algae line goes. So you can see just where the dock actually comes up to at high tide. What did you get there?
Where?
Where? What? That in your hands? What's that?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
It's just something I picked up.
Oh, something you picked up.
I'm just looking at it with my hands.
You gonna leave it here? Or?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. Okay. All right. Boys with the rocks. This is really neat. I love this. This is cool. Imagine how this would float up as soon as the tide comes in. It'd be less of an angle. This is cool. Brucey? Are you here? Brucey? There's the Roosevelt Cottage right there. This would have been their view from their windows. Gorgeous. After walking the dock, we headed to the Prince Cottage to grab some lunch. During FDR's time, this was a private summer residence for the Prince family. The Prince family came from the same affluent East Coast social circle that vacationed on the island. Now it's home to the Prince Café, open daily during the park season from 12 to 6 Atlantic time. The menu offers light breakfast items, baked pastries, coffee, tea, and light lunches. They take both Canadian and US cash. You do not need a reservation here. It's walk-in only, and parking is free. Here's a look at their menu. Feel free to pause to read, but we're going to share with you what we got today. And I know what I had was fantastic. On every table is a bit of information to give you some historical context to the location. I ordered the tea that is normally used with the Eleanor's tea party called the King Cole tea. I'm no tea expert, but I'm going to tell you that this tea was bold and had a very earthy flavor profile to it. This is for the seasoned tea drinker, not the beginner. This is the chicken pesto, apparently delicious. The chicken Caesar wrap, also delicious. The chicken bacon ranch wrap. This is the egg salad with chips and dill dip. And finally, the BLT croissant. But the star of the show was this, FDR's famous fish chowder. Made with large chunks of haddock, potatoes, and onions, it was divine. For dessert, we looked at a fruit crumble here, a carrot cake with coconut, which apparently was really good, an enamel bar, and finally a brownie chocolate sundae with ice cream, of course. The size of this thing, though. Look at the legs on that. Right? Oh, that's adorable. After taking a good look at the memorabilia here in this cottage, we decided to head over to the gift shop. The gift shop has a number of different items for pretty much every taste. There are magnets. There are a number of books that are related to Franklin and Eleanor's interests and or political leanings. And if you notice, the logo here is FDR's initials in the boat's sails. Oh, they got cute little shirts too. Oh, this is nice. I like this. It's all embroidered. Neat. In the far corner is a bust of FDR, which you can get a picture next to if you like. Oh, it's a magnet. Ooh. You got bookmarks. And all sorts of postcards and prints for you to take home as well. Due to its close proximity, we decided to go to the Mulholland Point Lighthouse. It's part of the Roosevelt Campobello International Park facilities. This lighthouse operated from 1885 until it was decommissioned in 1962 after the Memorial International Bridge provided more modern navigation support. Similar to Harbor Head, this is also an octagonal wooden lighthouse and it stands about 44 feet tall. Now, we were pretty fogged out on this day, but we still enjoyed walking around and enjoying the sights. These stairs here take you to a bit of a seawall kind of a path that goes around this little point. So you're probably asking yourself, is it worth it? Well, first of all, it's completely free. So yes, if you're on Campobello Island, I would highly recommend you visit this location. If you're into history or nature or just slowing down and enjoying the views, this is a great place to do that. And if you decide to stop for lunch at the Prince Café, trust me, get FDR's famous fish chowder. You will not be disappointed, I promise. Thanks again for watching the Travel Review Crew. I'd love to hear from you. Have you been to this location? What are your thoughts? Click on the playlist to watch our other adventures on Campobello Island. Until next time, see you on our next adventure.